Come to your senses. Come to your senses. What a wonderful saying that is. What does that mean? Come to your senses. We use that expression when we're trying to snap someone out of their thinking mind. When someone's really stuck on a problem and narrowly focused on an issue in their life, we say, hey, wake up, come to your senses. Like, hey, snap out of it, right? Coming to your senses means awakening out of the focus on mental processing, thinking, labeling, interpreting, and into the aliveness of your senses. Before we actually get into the practice of presence, why would you even want to do this? Like, why am I even talking about this? Because a lack of presence leaves you living in two ways. Either a negative life experience or an experience that is dull and flat and you just feel disconnected, right? When you are not present, when you're disconnected from the here and now, your mind turns on. We talked about this in the last video. Your mind intelligence takes over. And the mind, unfortunately, for whatever reason, loves to cling onto negative stories. So if you're not paying attention to the moment and your mind is taking over, you're most likely focused on something negative. And when that happens, your entire experience of life then, regardless of what you're doing, is a result of the negativity that your mind is focusing on. The second reason why we want to incorporate more presence is because if your experience isn't negative necessarily, but you're still not present, your experience is still coming through a lens of the mind. So even if it's just kind of talking about random things like the weather or what you did yesterday, and your thoughts are more neutral, that noise is still acting as a barrier to connection with the aliveness of the moment. That noise is like a buffer and a cushion between you and all of the energy that's available to you in the present moment. So life then starts to feel just kind of dull and flat, and you feel disconnected. Presence, on the other hand, is a state of being connected to the here and now. You're connected to life force and all of the energy that exists in this moment. So I'm going to give you 2 practices that you can implement today to increase your experience of presence, to get you out of the mind and into the moment. Practice number 1, awakening the senses. Now, this is a very simple practice, but it's not easy. What are your senses? We have 5 basic senses. What are they now? Touch, sight, sound, taste. Touch, sight, sound, taste, and smell. That's right, smell. And for a lot of people, these senses have been shut down since we were kids. Krishnamurti, one of the famous yogic philosophers, says, once a child learns the word bird, he never sees a bird again. Once a child learns the word bird, he never sees a bird again. What does he mean by that? He means as soon as we have a label, a mental interpretation for something outside of us or something in our experience, we start to connect with that thing now, not with the thing of what it actually is, but we start to connect with it through our interpretation and through our labels. So as soon as I know the word, I think I used this example in the last video, as soon as I know the word tea, I don't actually pay attention to drinking anymore. I've had this experience so many times that my mind just takes over and says, oh, it's tea. And then I'm not actually tasting or smelling or interacting with what is. So awakening your senses is about learning to reconnect with your 5 sensory organ systems without the mind getting in the way and taking over. It's about imagining that whatever you're doing is the first time you're doing it. The first time you're seeing the Rocky Mountains. The first time you're looking into your partner's eyes. The first time you're watching your baby crawl across the living room floor. The first time you're eating a certain meal. The first time you're smelling the morning dew in the grass. When these experiences are new, they demand all of your sensory attention, and the mind automatically starts to go quiet. But the more familiar you are with something, the louder your mind gets, the louder your labeling interpretation gets. And the quieter your sensory experience gets, the less present you become with that experience. So this first practice of awakening your senses you can do at any time of day. You don't have to, it's not separate from life, I should say. You don't have to carve out a precious time to do this practice. It's, you remember it when you're brushing your teeth, to actually be there as though you're brushing your teeth for the first time. You're awakening what it feels like to have the toothbrush run along your gums, or what the toothpaste tastes like, or what it smells like, or what your whole body's experience is of being there brushing your teeth. I sometimes use my opposite hand in order to get out of my mind so that my mind isn't as familiar with the experience, and I have to automatically be more present and pay attention to what I'm doing. Awaken your senses when you're getting dressed, when you're showering, when you're drinking your morning coffee or tea. You're paying attention. What does it feel like? What does it taste like? What does it smell like? What does it sound like? That's it. Awakening your senses. That's practice number 1. Practice number 2 is awareness of presence. So this is a separate practice that you can put some time aside. I recommend only about 3 to 5 minutes max, where you're sitting in a quiet space and you're simply becoming aware of your own sense of presence. You start by slowing down, closing your eyes, and becoming aware of breath, then becoming aware of your body, and then becoming aware of a sense of stillness at the center of everything. The stillness, the awareness of stillness, is ultimate presence. So let's just do the practice now. We won't do 3 minutes of it, but we'll do 1 minute. So find yourself in a comfortable position. Take a deep inhale. On your inhale, gently close your eyes and draw your attention to your breath. And just notice it. Allowing all of your attention to rest on the sensation of each inhale and exhale. Bring your attention to your body, not your physical body, but your energetic being. Become aware of your energy in this very moment. If any thoughts arise, just note them. Thinking. Come back to the awareness of breath and being. Are you aware of the stillness? Do you notice any resistance to the stillness? On your next exhale, just let everything soften. And sit for a moment. Feel into the stillness. And deepen your inhale. And long, steady exhale. And slowly open your eyes. So, that was a practice of becoming aware of the essence of here and now. Breath, beingness, and stillness. And that can be practiced, I recommend, daily for 3 to 5 minutes. And you'll increase your connection with presence. You'll get out of the mind and become a lot more heart intelligent, a lot more able to be in the here and now, and everything starts to feel so alive. It's amazing. I don't know how to describe it, or if I even should describe it further. You should just experience it. The problem with describing meditative experiences, I try not to do it with clients, is that then when they go into a meditation, their mind is aiming at what they think they should feel or what they're expecting to feel. And then the experience is not truly an experience of their own in that moment. It's still coming through the mind. Does that make sense? So I'm trying to avoid telling you what you might feel or what you might experience, but stillness is something to be aware of and to just open up to and look for. So 2 practices. I will detail those practices in the description box below this video in case you want to copy and paste it or keep it somewhere for future reference. The next video in this mini series, it's the last video, is why is this practice so hard? Like, that was pretty simple and basic, right? But it is not easy, and I resisted it for so long, and I'll tell you that story in the next video as well. But it can help to understand why it's so hard, so you don't tell yourself all kinds of crazy stories like you're a failure or it doesn't work for me or whatever. So that's in the next video. I hope to see you there. Put down the stress of the mind, breathe, become aware of the stillness, awaken to the aliveness of presence. Amitabha. See you in the next video.